Make sure we're on. Are we
Hello,
good to go?
everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey. Happy Tuesday evening. What is there better to do than hang out with my Utah agents?
Yeah.
I am so excited. You got amazing people here for this real estate professionals panel. I'm going to do some quick little introductions. We have Angie, that three little people call her Gigi. Those are her grandkids, by the way. And she is your Cache Valley professional agent. How long have you been licensed?
11 years.
And she's also dual certified with her appraisal license too.
Yep.
So she is top expert in pricing. And then we're going to take it over to Jason, my man. I said he's our token guy tonight.
Right.
We do have more men, but you know, he likes to hang out with the ladies. So Jason, like, no, and Luna, his dog. She's adorable. So Jason likes to have fun all the time, but knows when it's time to also get serious. Woo, 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 woo. Then we have Kritzia. So right here to my right. If she's not at Friday Night Lights, she is the key to your next home in Tooele Valley.
Yeah.
We added in Valley because if you guys don't know, Tooele is up and coming.
Yep, we are the next fastest growing county in the state. It's crazy, so give me a call.
Yay. And then Alex,
Hello.
when she is, hang on, I gotta read this right, because I have to say it with the slang. Before she was helping people shop for homes in Utah County, she was shopping for Boom. She used to be a shopper, right?
Right.
For clothing, and now you use those talents to help people find their perfect home.
That's right.
I love it.
I love shopping. What can I say?
And then Liz simply is the shiz. She's like, I don't know, make something up for me. So that's it. She gets Shannon's secret sauce. By the way, she's also co-owner of my Utah agent, so she's amazing, and I value our partnership.
Yeah, I have the best partner in the world.
Aww. And then we have Megan when she's not racing to get her clients a dream home. She's racing with her family at the Salt Flats.
I sure am.
Yeah. Okay, so, and then I'm Shannon, the principal broker of my Utah agents. I'm a broker by trade, but traveler, smart ass, and I would say go-getter by heart. So that's my introduction. Okay, so a bunch of you guys attended UAR today. So UAR is Utah Association of Realtors. I want to ask you first, what's some of your biggest takeaways from today that you guys heard? So Angie, I know that you had one you were sharing with us earlier.
Yeah, they were doing some analysis on the housing shortage because we are behind in affordable housing and housing in general. And they said it would take over 30 years to actually catch up the gap that we're experiencing. And that was kind of mind blowing.
30 years. Wow. I'll be hell by then. Hopefully still selling real estate. Jason, what were your takeaways today?
The biggest thing for me is that they said that August was the craziest seller's market that Utah real estate has had ever, literally. So as far as inventory going as fast as it's going, for price, the less amount of days on market, all that, August was a record.
The statistics
for sure.
was crazy. Is there anything you want to add? Because I know you were talking about that same thing earlier.
No, yeah, Jason hit it. It's really crazy how hot the market is. I mean, you list your home, and then if it's priced right, which my Utah agents does amazingly, is we price the home right, and it's gone within days, within like 24 hours. It's really, really crazy.
Yep. And I love how you added in price it right, because price is still a factor.
Yep.
I actually just saw a listing I quote unquote missed out on that they didn't list with me, and I looked it up and it just barely went under contract 56 days later.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh, that wouldn't have happened with me, and you did a $25,000 price reduction.
Yeah.
Wow. That's not really heard of. People aren't promoting those because those aren't success stories in today's market, right? It's success stories like the one in North Ogden that you get 6 offers or 7 offers actually within just a weekend on market, and you end up selling it for 30 grand more than asking, waiving appraisal. So we're going to go into all of that for you guys too. Alex, what's your takeaway?
My biggest takeaway was the new builds. Out in Utah County, we have a ton of new builds, and right now lots are going just as quick as homes go. So
Oh yeah.
that's another thing. People think that they can just, easily build, but there's bidding wars on the lots. So people need to keep that in mind as well, so.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway from that.
Yeah, they're trying to come up with more opportunities, right?
Right.
And like every opportunity is kind of hot.
And also how they said there was a shortage on lumber right now.
Yeah.
Due to the fires out in California
Mhm.
and everywhere in the West, but.
Thanks, California.
Ashley, we feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Sending loves your way. We got a lot of people moving here from California, so.
We do.
Yeah, sending love and prayers for rain, that's.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Liz, what was your takeaway from today's convention?
I've always had this gut feeling, but it was nice to have people on the national level who came to speak to us who said Utah is a unique market. What we're dealing with here locally is different than what people are seeing across the nation, where we have such a housing shortage. We have so much immigration of people moving into our state from other states that our population growth is just off the charts. And it's causing this to be a phenomenal market to invest in, to buy in, to own real estate in. So it's exciting to be
So
part of
it's
it.
positive.
Yeah.
It is,
Love
it's
it.
amazing.
Yeah. And we will end with Megan.
So mine's kind of the same as Jason, saying how August was the hottest month we've had. And usually, you know, at this time, kind of comes school, it slows down like crazy come fall and everything. But they were saying that they don't see it slowing down at all, which is so unique for right now.
Yeah,
Because
it's
usually
not
slows-
following seasonal trends.
Right.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
said the winter time's gonna be just as hot. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, of course, me as a broker, my takeaways were the legal panel who watched part of that.
I love the
Love
that.
And I'm so glad they answered my question at the very end. I'm like, please, I put it on there twice. I'm like, I would love an answer to this. And it was talking about video recording.
Yeah.
So how a lot of sellers are putting secret cameras in their houses. And I was saying, okay, it makes it a little intrusive on the buyer not knowing there's a camera recording. And so it's funny to get all the different attorneys' takeaways because of course they all say something a little different, but they pretty much were on the same page with this one, that they can have recordings in their own home. But in California, they actually do make them disclose if a home has recordings inside, recording devices. And so I really would push for us to have that
I
be
think
the
that's
case.
fair.
I do feel like that's fair.
Absolutely.
Okay, so where are we at now? I have a bunch of you, since you're all across the Wasatch Front, to tell me where are we at. Let's start up north. Let's start in Cache Valley. So tell me how the market is in Cache Valley, Angie.
It's pretty much the same as everywhere else, only we just have a little bit smaller population. So today, we only have 64 homes that are available, active for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with a 2-car garage. There's 35 in backup position, 183 under contract. So we got 3 times as many under contract,
Wow.
as available.
Okay, and you say there's not a lot of people up there, but at the same time, I'm hearing of more and more people moving north
Right.
because they're seeing more opportunity up there.
Right, and the prices are just slightly lower than down.
I'm sure
further
that's why
south.
Tooele is growing too.
Yes, most
Yeah.
definitely.
Right?
Yep, and so in the last 30 days, 101 homes have closed.
Wow.
So right now, our current inventory is about less than half a month worth of inventory. So in 2 weeks, supposedly, all the houses will be sold and more.
And we'll dive into that a little bit more. We'll talk about the months of inventory and what that means, just to clarify for people that aren't in this world and don't know exactly what that means, but they talk about absorption rate. And Liz, if you don't mind kind of shedding a little bit more light on your absorption rate spill.
Sure. So everybody's heard the term buyer's market and seller's market, but there's actually a calculation that they go by to determine officially what market we're in. And it's based on how many months of inventory we have available for sale right now. So the easiest way to do it is if we have 100 homes for sale, and on average we sell 25 houses per month, then that means we have 4 months of inventory. And so what we're talking about right here is that with selling 101 houses and that we have only 34 homes for sale, so we have 34 homes for sale and we're selling 101 houses a month. That means we have like less than half a month of inventory. And so that is what the upward pressure on prices is. That is where the drive is coming from to push us in this really strong seller's market.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And with that being said too, it also means that if the demand remains the same and no new homes come on the market, that will be true, right?
Right.
So I am starting to see a little bit more sellers come out of the woodwork, and they're starting to take advantage of the high prices that they know they can sell their houses for. So we'll talk about that too, because obviously with it being a seller's market, on the flip side, it's hard being a buyer, but we're gonna tell you when you're a seller buying why it's beneficial to do that as well. So let's talk about Weber Davis County. Jason.
So all these statistics were pulled for 3-bed, 2-bathroom minimums with 2-car garages. And in Weber County, we'll work north to south. Current active, there are 114 homes. In backup and under contract, there are 323. And sold in the past 30 days, there are 243.
Wow.
Which is really crazy, especially for Weber. I think a lot of people, once they find Weber County, it's not a place that they ever leave. They fall in love with it.
Oh yeah.
And so going just south of Davis County.
I think I'm the only one in Weber County.
I'm
I'm in
in
Weber County.
In current active in Davis County, there are 171. Backup and under contract, there are 504. And sold in the past 30 days, 365, which is just crazy. Over 30 homes a day that are being sold.
Wow.
And the absorption rate for both is just under half a month.
Okay, so again, half a month. You're starting to see a trend, right? Is Salt Lake any different, Megan?
Salt Lake is actually a little bit lower, surprisingly, than Davis County. I was actually surprised when Jason said that. We, in Salt Lake County, only have 40 active.
Wow.
And then
That are 3-bedroom, 2
Two
bath,
bath,
2
2-car garage. And I asked them all to pull these stats because that's what a majority of buyers look for. They say, and I always say when we're setting up our searches, right, less is more.
Yep.
We don't want to put in, a ton of stipulations because we're probably going to end up with 0 results. So less is more with your searches, but at minimum, most people say I want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage. So that's the criteria that we used.
yes, and so 40 active, 12 backup, and 179 under contract.
And to clarify, this is all of Salt Lake County.
All of Salt Lake County.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's from like Draper up to
So,
Avenues.
The Avenues, yeah.
Yeah. So
Rose Park area.
in 30 days, only 57 homes have sold
Mm-hmm.
because there's not enough inventory.
Yeah.
So there's not enough to sell.
Yeah. It's not that there's a shortage of buyer demand, that's
No,
for sure.
definitely not. And then absorption rate, we are like everyone else under half a month.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
inventory.
Okay, is Tooele County following these same
Oh,
trends?
it's exactly almost. So we have current active, we have a total of 73 total homes listed, and 30 of which are under construction. So that means we only have 43 that are pre-existing homes for
Like
sale.
move-in ready.
Yeah, move-in ready.
If not, you
43.
gotta wait.
Yep, exactly. We have
I love how you broke that out, by the way, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
And then we have 100 under contract, we have 32 backup offers, and then we've sold 84 homes within the last 30 days. And our median price range is $340,000. And then days on market after it gets under contract is 7 days. So as soon as you list your home, it only takes 7 days to get your home sold and get it under contract.
Mhm.
Which, so if you're in a hurry and you need to sell your house, if you're moving to a different state, that's good to know.
Yep.
And then for the absorptionship rate, we're at a half, like 0.54 months of inventory. So
And
half
just
of
for those
inventory.
that don't know where Tooele is, because we don't know where everybody's
Yeah.
coming in from. If you're out of state, we love you. Everybody's moving here. Because Utah's one of US's best kept secrets, I would have to say.
It is.
Tooele is just west of Salt Lake County, so it's just a little bit out there.
And it's only a 30-minute drive from Salt Lake, from downtown Salt Lake, and it's such a great, beautiful area.
It is.
So for sure.
I have clients that have moved there. Okay, we're gonna head down south to Utah County,
So Utah County is super
aka
pretty.
Happy Valley.
Yes. It is Happy Valley and I love it. I grew up in Salt Lake and I love Utah County. I don't think I'll ever be back to Salt Lake County. No offense, but I love Utah County. It's super booming right now because all the tech companies are coming out here and
Yeah, Silicon Slopes.
Silicon Slopes. And then since the pandemic hit, everyone realizes they can work from home.
Mhm.
And so they're coming up here to Utah County and it's just been crazy. The stats that I have for Utah County are actually very similar to Salt Lake right now, I think because they run so close together with the cities being so close. But I do have active 40 listings, same thing, backup contract 12 and under contract 179.
Wow.
And then we have 0.36 months of inventory on the market right now.
Wow.
So
36.
Yeah.
Happy Valley.
Did any of you guys pull average pricing or median pricing? You did.
I did.
Did anybody else write it
So
down?
I did back in, back in July, I think, is when I pulled mine, and Salt Lake County was at 419,000.
Yep.
Was their average.
Wow, that was like just recently the breakpoint for,
FHA.
yeah.
I know. FHA
And now
low
it's the
limits.
median price. That's crazy.
And that's why they upped it, and they upped it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
You
they
know.
needed to.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you this, Liz, what can sellers expect in today's market, given it's a seller's market?
Mhm.
And I know you are taking listings left and right, the team's
Trying
busy
to.
doing open houses
Yeah.
on them. So what do you advise your clients on what they can expect in today's market, what type of pricing they can get, the condition, because although obviously homes are selling
Mhm.
like, you know,
Hotcakes.
like hotcakes. I was actually gonna say that, and I was thinking of a different word to try to use. Like hotcakes. I like French toast better.
Like
But with that, obviously, we are seeing homes set. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because it's either you're selling like day 1, 2, 3 up to 7, or you're sitting.
Right.
So what would you say the difference is, and what would you tell me if I was your seller?
So when I talk to sellers, I'll share with them about the absorption rate, and I'll talk about how when we're in a really strong seller's market like we are, we can price on the upper edge of the price range that we pull. But it's interesting, like you'll pull a range on a house, meaning that I'll take a house and I'll say, compared to everything else that's sold, what's it probably gonna sell for? And like, let's say the range is right between 400 and 420. And so I'll explain to my sellers, it means we can price on the upper edge, but because they're seeing all of these big numbers, sometimes people still wanna go 430, 440, 450, which happens.
Yeah.
And that's when it becomes our job to explain to them, you know, my job's to educate and inform, your job's to make the decision. And I'll price the home wherever you want me to. However, in this market, if you don't price it right to sell it on the first weekend out, people will assume something's wrong with your house.
Yep, if it doesn't sell
If
right
it
away.
doesn't sell right away,
Yeah.
because everything else sells right away.
Yeah.
So the only stuff that doesn't is something that's wrong.
So they're like,
And
oh,
so-
what am I not seeing? How come somebody
Yeah.
else already hasn't,
Yeah.
eaten it up already?
Exactly.
Look at all these food analogies we're using.
I know, right? It's making me
We're
hungry.
foodies.
So I just say, you know what, let's price it within the range, 420 at the top, maybe even 415, because what happens then is that instead of getting one buyer that competes against you, where you negotiate back and forth until you come to an agreement, you have multiple buyers competing against each other. And so even just this weekend, we had 2 listings go live, and one of them did sell for, it was ironic, it was 30,000 over asking.
Well, that makes 2 of them.
And we had 7 offers, which is the exact same number.
Oh,
Serious.
Oh,
And it was interesting because as soon as we told them, you're competing against other offers, here's what makes yours stronger, and it really does come down to how much you're gonna offer.
Yep.
And so we're getting some really great offers on homes. And so I always tell my sellers, let's price it in the range that's gonna make it work for you.
Because then naturally, people are going to be competitive, and they know they're competing, so they take a different mindset of, I got to do literally whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Right? And so essentially, instead of, like you said, I loved how you used competing against yourself, because essentially that's what a negotiation is 2 parties.
Competing against each other.
So I like how you said more so making the buyers compete against each other, and you're the winning person at the end of it.
Exactly.
Okay, so say for example, somebody does want top dollar, but their house isn't really show ready, and they kind of don't really want to. What would you say are absolutely the must haves that they need to address?
I always recommend hit at least everything that's gonna show up in an FHA addendum. So make sure you don't have trip hazards, make sure you don't have peeling paint, that you have
Broken
gutters where you ought to. Fix the
Broken windows.
Yeah.
Okay, go through the list, Christia. She's a listing agent too, so.
I'm like broken windows, peeling paint, trip hazards. Make sure that you have like
Smoke detectors,
railings, especially on your back porch. There's a lot of railings missing on your back porch, and especially revamp, like put a clear coat of polyurethane on your back porch, because that will definitely help, because sometimes you never know.
5 years left life of the roof, right? Is there anything else? Crumbling concrete comes up because of trip hazard, like you said. I've even had carpet called out.
And I've had one where a FHA appraiser wanted me to fill all of the cracks in all the stucco, like throughout the whole house.
Broken siding.
Yeah, broken siding, any holes in the siding, anything that's
Outlet covers.
hazardous.
Yep.
So safety hazard.
Safety. And that's what we do tell our buyers right now. Say, for example, you can't go in anymore and ask for a laundry list of items. So we say, hey, some buyers are even waiving their due diligence, right? And so just to be more competitive. But we do tell them when they get an inspection to look at the 3 S's, which is safety, structural, or major systems related. Those are about the only thing that sellers are willing to consider repairing, because most other buyers are gonna be worrisome about those items as well. But definitely nothing that was already there when you seen the home. Nothing cosmetic. Angie, is there anything else you would add to that? Because you do a lot of listings as well.
Yeah, no, I would just say, and I would say, like cleanliness, if you can't afford to like remodel or repaint, like really hiring a cleaner to get a deep clean, because you know, you don't want to feel like you're in somebody else's bathroom. You want it to shine like a hotel bathroom, and you know,
when you pull back the shower curtain and there's mold, and you're all, oh, that really makes me feel
so if you can't afford a lot of cosmetic updates, at least having it sparkly clean will be a benefit.
Absolutely.
And I do have one more thing on that too, is that I always tell my sellers that you get 3 chances to make a first impression, and this is really important if you're going to sell a house. Is the first time is online, so make sure that you have professional photography done on the home and write a very compelling description. Second is when they pull up to the curb, they're going to look at the front of the house and look at the neighborhood. So make sure that the lawn
in-person first
impression,
impression,
and it's mowed, it's edged, that you know you've just made it look sharp on the outside. And then when they open the front door, everything that you can see from the first second you open the front door. Because if we can get a buyer to fall in love with your home at those 3 steps, and so long as everything else matches the listing, we've got them.
Oh yeah.
So those are the most key things.
Yep. I mean, how many times have you guys showed up to show the home and you're like, is this the same house? So yes, do professional photography, but I say it's actually not in your benefit to oversell the home either. You definitely want to make sure that you're hitting all the different check boxes, right? All the different features and amenities that the home offers, but also at the same time, you don't want to oversell it, because if somebody comes in with high expectations.
It's like the movie that you have high expectations for, and you hate it, but it was a good movie.
And then you show up.
Kind of me. Just going downhill.
You're still married, so I say you're working it out. And then at that too, I would also suggest staging your home. So obviously we recommend my Utah stagers. Not sure why.
Well, it's a really good price. The first time I hired staging was a different company. It was triple the price.
Yeah.
And your company does such a good job. I love it.
Yep.
Actually, our company.
Yes, our company. So with that though, staging your home is really to showcase the home and help it sell for even more. So although it could have maybe sold already on its own, what you're doing is you're drawing even more interest. So even more buyers that can see themselves living there. Showcasing and maximizing the space that's in the home. Like say for example, that one in North Ogden, they had their stuff, they just did updates, but they didn't really have new furniture, and they're moving to Colorado. They didn't want to buy furniture for this house when they need to buy furniture for that house. So we came in, professionally staged it, and to me, it helped increase the amount of offers we received. More offers typically means more money, right? And so in return, you get a great ROI on it. So even if it's lived in, new construction, or we even just need to go in and help people declutter, rearrange, you know, tell them maybe what decor packages to buy. We're there to help too, which then helps with the professional photography and the online exposure, then when they're there in person and all of that fun stuff. And then when they show mom and dad, or the kids. Okay, so So what can we expect in today's market as far as being a buyer? Like it's like, no. So we have limited inventory. We have all-time super high pricing, never seen this type of pricing before. Why should somebody buy versus rent? I want to make sure we cover all of these. First-time home buyer being pretty scared jumping in today's market, right? They've never experienced this before. They're already scared, and it's kind of ski-wumpus. Is that a word?
Yeah.
I tried to spell it today in a text, so that's my second time saying that word. And then just like the overall process. So I'm gonna have, Megan, you're killing it with buyers. How many do you have under contract right now?
We just closed 2, so I had 6, and now I'm at, I just added 1, so I'm at 5 again.
Okay, so you guys, that is amazing. That's what most realtors do all year. She has that right now with buyers in today's market, like phenomenal. So in a month. Okay, so Megan, tell me some of your kind of tips and tricks and things that you would advise on that.
Yeah, so I think just because how crazy things are right now, people are definitely scared. I mean, I was scared as an agent going into this. I was like, what do I do? Going up against all these offers. But what I have learned from it is how to negotiate in ways other agents don't know how to.
Ooh. How did you learn that?
I don't know.
May I ask?
It was this really awesome lady named Shannon that kind of showed me a few things. But hey. And Liz was always.
She was the frosting on top.
Yeah. But so negotiating is huge right now because you gotta think outside the box. If there's 7 offers on a home, what am I doing differently that other people aren't doing? What is something other agents won't do? So I go over that with my clients and say, this is what we're gonna do. Are you okay with that? It's kind of just how we need to be competitive right now and just educating them that way.
And educating them why, because they may be like, well, that's not to my benefit. And it's like, but you won't have any benefit if you don't get the house.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So let me ask you, Kritzia, what would you suggest, or what's some of your tips and tricks?
I try to educate especially my first home buyers about earnest money, because I feel like earnest money is huge when negotiating on a home.
Say you're a first-time home buyer, what is earnest money?
Earnest money is more or less a deposit that acts like a down payment that it takes, it goes towards the purchase price. So let's say the purchase price is $350 and we put $2,500 down. That goes towards your loan amount. But one of the things that I love about earnest money and to negotiate is you can make your earnest money go hard, which is non-refundable, that will go to the seller, that makes the seller be like, holy crap, they're giving us $2,500 because they want this house this bad. And I like to do it after due diligence, because after we do our due diligence and we love the house.
Let's talk about, we're a first time home buyer, what's due diligence?
So due diligence is where we go through and do our home inspection, and we make sure that all the repairs, we negotiate the repairs that we want done from the seller. Again, we're not gonna have this huge list. We're just gonna do all our 3 S's. So, which means that we're gonna be reasonable with our repairs, but then after due diligence, our money goes hard. That $25 is the seller's, and that's a huge highlight for buyers.
Yep. So it goes towards the seller if the deal doesn't successfully close.
Yep, exactly.
And so the sellers are like, oh wow, they got skin in the game, right? And some buyers are making earnest money hard upon acceptance because they're competing.
I just had to do that on one of mine.
Yeah.
Because we were competing like against 20 offers.
Wow.
And this house was exactly what my client wanted. It was newer. So we walked through and we're like, nothing in here is really red flagging us. And they needed money to pay their mortgage in like 2 weeks. So we said, well, we'll just make that much of our earnest money not only hard, but we'll release it to the seller so they can make their mortgage even if we don't close on time. And here it is, September 15th, and we're closing on the 17th, but they already have their money to pay.
Yep.
So
that's awesome.
And we won.
Yay!
It was.
Yay! And our clients.
I would say that
absolutely
earnest
love it.
money for first-time home buyers definitely makes you look like a strong,
How much do you
serious
guys
buyer.
feel like is minimum? Cause it used to be 500, you guys, back
Now
in the
that's
day.
laughable.
Back in the day when it was probably 2011, we could almost get away with 250.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I would say minimum right now is 1,500.
1,500?
Yeah, if I see 1,000 on an offer, I'm
Yeah,
like,
you feel like
they're
it's
not
low.
that
Well,
serious.
I almost think it depends on the price point too.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
for sure. I think that if you are, within a certain, like above a certain price point, then you need to go higher than.
So, and this is something to shed a little bit of insight on that I want to mention right now is we have over 40% of buyers moving here from out of state.
Mm-hmm.
Utah is an anomaly, like Liz said, in that we've been able to get away with very minimal earnest money for far too long. We are now competing with out-of-state buyers that come from states that 1% is typical, is standard. And so they're like, I got 15,000 on it. Like, what are you talking about? There's other people doing less than that? And I'm like, you'd be surprised. And sellers nowadays are like, wow, they got that much money down. It just gives that buyer that much more credibility as far as their financing goes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so limited inventory, we've already touched on that. Half of a month between all counties.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for a buyer as far as like their urgency? So Jason, what does that mean?
As far as
Let me sit back so I.
really just means, I mean, if you're gonna be serious as a buyer, if you want a home right now in the market that we're in as a buyer, then it's time to get serious. I mean, that's something that we always do a good job of informing our clients that if our clients actually want the home, then we're gonna have to play some hardball. Because like Megan touched on earlier, it's a strong seller's market, but it's no reason to be afraid of.
Yep.
Especially when you hire the right realtor and the right team.
Amen.
You're gonna have agents that have the right training to make sure that they do all the tricks, whether it's making earnest money non-refundable upon acceptance, or this, that, or the other, a bunch of other ways to make sure that you're gonna be able to get the right home.
Yep. And then urgency, though, I just want to make sure we don't forget to talk about that. So typically, you need to be out there the day it is listed to see it.
Absolutely.
There are some sellers that literally are taking offers for, I would say, less than 24 hours and they already have one accepted. So you can't wait to see the right home. You need to be looking at the emails we send you with the new homes that meet your criteria.
Exactly.
We proactively text our clients, hey, did you see that? When are you available? That's the amazing thing of our team is we all help each other too. So say, for example, if one or the other is already out with other clients, we have a plethora of licensed agents that all have the same training. We're all here to look out for our clients together as one. So at any time you want to see a house, we pretty much almost always can find somebody to open the door for you and get you through to see it.
But I think the other issue with that a lot of people are scared of is not everyone has open schedules, just go see houses whenever one pops up.
Yep.
So one thing we do that I learned that is awesome is we'll go and record it for them and send it to them, and I'll literally point out everything I do that I would in a normal showing.
Yep.
So they know exactly what it looks like, and that way they don't miss
And
out.
how do you send that to them?
I put it on YouTube and send them a YouTube link.
Yep. And she doesn't cut, copy, and also with that, like she said, it's a normal showing. So it's not like she's like, oh, don't look at this bad stuff over here. I'm gonna focus the camera. Our job is to obviously look out for your best interest as our client. So we are going to point out things. Hey, the workmanship's kind of shoddy and the camera you might not be able to really tell, but in a blind's eye, if that's even politically correct. You never know nowadays. But in person, how about that? In person, you can tell the quality isn't there, right?
So definitely being real.
Being real. And we're always real with our clients. And sometimes I say, hey, this is the part of my job I hate. I don't like giving bad news, or I don't like telling you what you don't want to hear. But that's our job, is to have tough conversations and guide our clients and empower them to make the best decision for themselves.
Exactly.
Let's talk about purchasing power,
Okay.
if you don't mind. So why would a buyer want to get in the market with pricing at all-time highs?
A seller would want to get in the market.
No, a buyer.
Oh,
So talking about purchasing
okay.
power.
Sorry, I'm getting outdated with you. So we have like phenomenally low interest rates. They're lower than they've ever been. And if you think about the kind of rule of thumb is if interest goes up 1%, you lose 10% of your buying power. So it's important, even though the prices are high, the mortgages are more affordable than they've ever been. So for example, if you can afford a $100,000 house, just to make math easy, I know they don't really exist. For math question.
Clear as mud.
Yeah. If you can qualify for that, if interest were to go up 1%, now all of a sudden you can only afford a $90,000 house, and that's a huge difference. If you're looking at a $300,000 house, it would go down to $270,000, which is a lot of
well, and if pricing's going up, that $90,000 house was $75,000 earlier in the year.
Right, and so you're getting this bigger and bigger gap. The longer you wait, the bigger the gap gets.
Which pro tip too, the interest rate has a historical tendency after each election to always go back up, regardless of whether it's red or blue that's elected, it always has a historical tendency to go up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what are rates at right now? What have some of your closings been up?
2.77.
They're giving away free money, y'all. It's like Oprah.
I closed 2.75.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous.
You closed what?
A couple 2.75.
2.75.
I closed at 2.5.
I saw one on Instagram the other day at 2.3.
Yep.
It
Well,
was
and
crazy.
I think another thing that, especially first-time home buyers are realizing too right now is free money.
Right.
With FHA loans, Utah housing loans. They're realizing, oh, I'm young, I don't have enough saved up.
100% financing.
Mhm.
You
Absolutely.
can get loans that will help you give money to put up down payment.
Yep.
So here's something to keep in mind too. I actually just did this for a client not too long ago, is they had their 3.5% to put down on an FHA loan, but it would have cleaned out their savings. So they chose instead to get 100% financing and hold on to their money. Well, their house has appreciated so fast that they earned more appreciation than they would have been able to save. So if you're saving for a down payment, the house you want to buy is going up faster than you're saving.
Oh yeah.
So
That's
it
a great
makes
point.
more sense to take advantage of the pre-election interest rates and today's pricing and to buy it with 100% financing and then just keep saving in the meantime. Because now you also have a tax write-off because you own a house.
Exactly.
Well, and there's tons of options. Like people get misconceptions that they have to have so much down payment.
Yeah,
20%. I mean, you can get
10%,
conventional
yeah.
loans with like a 5%.
Percent.
And
An
then,
FHA with 3.5.
right, and so there's tons of options. So your best bet is to just make a decision that you want to do it, and then mortgage professionals, and we can help with that. Give you the best plan of how to get what you want.
Yep.
Fits your budget and your.
So, and with that, besides FHA, there's USDA, which is rural 100% financing, and they honor that in Cache Valley,
Most of Cache Valley.
most of Cache Valley,
And in
Brigham City,
Yeah.
Tooele, Lower Utah County,
Yeah.
you know?
And some of Saratoga Springs
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's always good to work with a high-level mortgage professional that has a lot of loan options, again, to put you in the best loan for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Best rate, best fees, best structure, all of that.
And can I add to that?
Please do.
Especially for first-time home buyers or any buyer, and for that case, it is so very important to get pre-approved
Right.
before even looking for a home. Because I know that there's times where you'll love the house that you want to buy, but then you still have that whole entire process of working with the lender and getting pre-approved, and then you've lost your chance at buying your perfect home. So please make sure that you work with the lender. We actually have a preferred lender that we love, Bryce Olson. He's awesome. That no, it's very important that you do get pre-approved. So
Yep. Absolutely. And it's a painless process, 15 minutes or less on the online application. So
Free to do.
Yeah.
free
Yeah.
to do. They don't have to pull your credit right away. Eventually they do. What were you gonna mention? Okay. Jason's worked with Bryce a lot. In fact, Megan has as well. Alex
Yeah.
just did.
Yeah.
How
Shannon
was
wasn't married to him, I would be.
And it might go the same in return. They may marry you. Sometimes I hear them talking more than we talk. I'm like, is something wrong with this picture? Okay, so my question is, why would somebody buy versus rent? Because we got a lot, the rental market is just as strong as the real estate market in general. So why would somebody buy versus rent?
I think Liz made a great point with saving up. People's like, I'm just gonna rent, I'll save up.
Wait
And
for the
then
market to crash.
Yeah,
Okay.
wait for the market
Hear
to
that
crash,
one.
hear that one all the time. And I feel like that's such a gamble. You don't know when it's gonna happen, and with
Or if
it will happen. But saving up with the equity of your home, that's genius.
Yeah.
Like, and with interest rates right now being so low, and rentals are so expensive right now.
Yeah, and when you pay your rent, you're
Yeah.
paying someone's mortgage, you might as well pay your own.
Yeah,
Get the
exactly.
tax write-off.
Something I always teach my clients too is even if, the market were to crash or whatever, say you're paying $1,000 a month in rent and it crashes in a year from now and the market crashes $12,000, you got nothing out of it anyway.
Yeah.
And so even just for the low risk that it might go down, and we don't have a crystal ball at the end of the day, we don't know, but projections are looking like it's not anytime soon.
No.
I just say, why take the risk? Get
Yeah.
equity now.
Amen.
And not only that, but buy now, because next year, who knows, we may be like $40,000
Higher.
higher
Yeah.
in price
With
point.
less inventory.
Well,
I have
and with that low interest, like most people.
I'm gonna start
can
renting out my
find-
rooms.
That most people can find houses to buy for less than they're renting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
across the board, you can usually always find something that you can own for less than you're
Yep.
renting.
Yeah.
These
And
rates
that's
are
still
awesome.
true today, even in today's market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if
You
the
know.
market and prices go up, so does rent.
And you don't even have a chance to earn equity. You don't even have a chance to build your worth. And a lot of times I tell people, I'm like, oh, hey, by the way, your house just went up 50,000 this past year. Divide that by 12. You just got paid side income.
$4,000 a
You
month.
know what I mean? Just to live there. That you would
Yeah.
never have that opportunity had you not bought.
I have a client right now that lives in Germany, and they know that they're moving back to the United States when his commitment with the military is done, which is next year. And
By
for
the
last-
way, ask us about our military discounts.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service.
And so 4 years ago, they knew they were moving back, and every single year they waited to buy a home. And finally, they said, you know what? If we keep waiting, we're gonna hate ourselves even this much more. So finally what we did was we took them out, we saw homes, we did all of our tours via Zoom, all of our meetings via Zoom, and we ended up buying the house. The first time they saw it was the day that they signed the papers, and they love it. And they're not moving here for another year. They had us have to place a tenant, but they just didn't wanna wait till next year's rates and next year's prices.
Yep.
Actually,
That's so
somebody-
smart.
Oh, I gotta bring y'all up. You're fighting for the attention.
Actually,
You
yeah,
first.
some clients similar, they're active duty National Guard living in Puerto Rico, and they haven't even seen the home. They closed on it 2 weeks before they had even moved here. So just kind of the same similar story that, they're going quick and they didn't want to wait until.
And I've
all
heard
the
horror
information-
stories of people using other agents that didn't tell them the truth about the condition. So it is a little bit of a risk to buy it sight unseen. However, when you do use the right agent, like a My Utah agent, we will definitely steer you straight. And obviously, we will do our best too to ask for the house to be professionally cleaned, certain repairs to be done, so you know exactly what you're getting it for. What were you going to say?
Well, I was gonna highlight Jason and say,
Oh,
he
already
just
pretty
did
good.
one.
I've been in to see it for the first time at midnight.
Right?
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
By the way,
Was it
just-
midnight?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I
we
know.
always say this is teamwork. We're just as invested in this process as our clients. And so with that, I'm gonna give a shout out to Jason. He did go meet his clients. They flew in at what time?
They got there at like 12:45, I think.
AM. He literally went out, met them at the house so they could immediately go straight to their home.
On anytime, we love you.
Oh, we're gonna give you a round of applause.
Thank you for your service.
Our job, honestly, like our focus and our mission is to exceed the expectations that our clients have for us. So number one, achieve their goals, but also exceed their expectations. So we set realistic expectations in our job, and our goal is obviously to try to always do more than that. So do it more whenever we can. Let me go into why would a seller sell now just to become a buyer, right? It's kind of hard when the shoe gets put on the other foot. It's like, oh, great, yeah, it's a seller's market, but then now I'm a buyer. Ooh. So what can they do to protect themselves? Angie, I know you have some great tips and strategies to share with us.
Yeah, so a lot of people are nervous to sell because what would they do to buy? But if you are planning to sell or you need to get a different house, it's all relative. If you sell high, you're gonna buy high. But you also have now made some money, most likely, and have equity that you're rolling over, and we have the phenomenal interest rates we've talked about over and over. So you could actually probably upgrade your home and have a lower mortgage payment, or at least the same payment. There's never going to be the scenario where you sell high and buy low. That just doesn't exist in market conditions. So it's always progressive. So it's always a good time to sell and buy because they're equivalent to each other, and your money just transfers from one to another. So
I mean, especially if you have at least 20% that you can take out of equity from your house sale and put it on your next one to avoid mortgage insurance.
Right.
You know, and with that, you're typically buying a bigger home, a nicer home. Yes, for more money, but like Angie said, if the interest rate's lower and everything makes sense, it could potentially be the same price per month.
Right.
And that's how most people shop for homes, is not necessarily the amount of money they're spending. They're overall, they're looking, what can I afford in my monthly budget?
Yeah. And there are some things you can do to protect the seller. You know, you can accept offers contingent on you finding the perfect place to go. So you don't have to be like homeless if you don't want. But
so instead of being a buyer that's contingent upon the sell, you can be a seller contingent upon you buying.
Right.
What else? What's your other tips?
And I was gonna say, but it's always good to kind of come up with a plan B. So if you have an option for a short-term rental or somewhere you can stay short-term, you know, once your house is closed and sold, you have the most purchasing power. You have cash in hand, you're ready to go. So you're gonna be the very strongest buyer at that point. So if you do have an option of plan B, that's always good to have in the back pocket in case you don't find the perfect home. But it's also very realistic to go from one to the other, and just a smooth closing from selling to buying is one day after the next, and move from A to B.
Yep. Does anybody have anything to add to that as far as when a seller becomes a buyer?
No, I think she hit it all.
Yeah.
Lease back, that's something too, is right. You can sell it, but rent it back from the new buyers. So that way you can have a smooth one-time move.
And in the market right now, that's totally normal.
It is.
Oh,
I've seen a lot of properties that have that right now.
Yep. So FYI, talk to a professional like us.
That's another thing to consider when you're a buyer, is to put that in your offer, is that you will let the seller have either a rent back or time to move. Well, as a buyer, you know, you've got options, but.
So, and I just want to talk about the quote unquote crash, and how people are like, oh, I'm waiting for that to happen, and all of that it's not foreseen to be up and coming anytime soon. And with that, when I always talk about people shopping for, as far as within their monthly budget, to me, as long as you have job security and you know you're going to be happy in that home long term, no matter what happens in the economy, as long as you feel comfortable and confident in your monthly payment, to me, it's always potential equity and potential loss. Unless you're actually selling, then that's when it becomes realized. So to me, yeah, timing's always important, but if you hang on to it long enough, we always ride out any wave. People that bought in 2007 at the peak of the market before, they have substantial gains now if they're still in their home right now. So even if you bought at that time before, obviously they're still paying down on their principal, they're lowering their the amount that they owe on their home. Again, that would never be possible if they waited or rented. So just wanted to add into that.
In Utah too, it's kind of an overall statistic that if you live in anywhere, she said, as a certain amount of time, if you live anywhere for 5 years, you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be worth more when you purchase it today.
So if it's a short-term investment and you know you're leaving soon and you don't know what's going to happen, you know, we can talk about that and decide if it's the best move for you, because there are sometimes I tell people, hey, I actually don't think you should sell. I just had somebody yesterday call me for a CMA because the windstorm knocked a bunch of trees down and he's got no power and it's $11,000 repair. He's like, I don't know if I should do that. And I go, well, do you like the house? And he goes, yeah. I go, well, I think we just need to figure out a way to get fixed. I mean, I want to sell a home, but I also don't want to take advantage of you when you're in this emotional stance. And, you know, if you like the home and you want to live in it long term, I don't want to, you know, deter you from that. So
one other thing to add to that too, Shannon, is that the reason our prices are going up is simply an economic supply and demand. And the prices, when they increased before in the 2006 to 2008, were artificially inflated with bad lending practices, bad appraisal practices, straw buyers, all kinds of problems that created faults. but we've just seen a steady increase of prices ever since like 2011 to today. It's just slowly gone up. So it's not going to crash because there wasn't this big, huge jump that it's going to drop back off.
And we
It was
have
just a slow and
rules
steady.
in place now because of that,
Right.
so that it doesn't happen again.
Right.
Okay, so why would a buyer seller want to work with our team? What do we do different? I'm gonna start with Kritzia.
Just look at us.
Right?
I mean,
We sit
cute.
here.
What we do different as a team is, like, obviously we are all here together as a team. We work together. For buyers, we definitely know how to educate our buyers, especially for first-time home buyers. We actually have a program called Home Buying 101, which is amazing for first-time home buyers that give you exactly step-by-step on the process of buying your first home. And so that's what My Utah Agents does, is we help educate our buyers on all aspects of buying and the whole process of it.
That's
And-
beneficial even for people who just haven't bought a home in the last
Right.
7 years.
Yeah. Because let's be real, our market
It's
even
changed.
2 years ago, even like
Yeah.
6 months ago was
Right.
different than
Yeah.
it is right now.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, we just work together. I mean, obviously you can see that from just our panel tonight. We are an amazing team in the buying process. We make it so nice and smooth, and the transition is beautiful.
Aw. Okay, let's talk about Angie.
So I would think a big benefit to working with the team is because you do have a team. You're not just hiring one agent, you're hiring a whole team and a whole back end. So you're not gonna miss deadlines, you're gonna have over communication, you're gonna have customization, and then also like branding is all gonna be similar. So you're gonna have the same high quality professional photos, the signs are all gonna be high quality professional signs. So everything is consistent and you get the same thing that the next person gets.
Let's just say when Angie onboarded with us, because both of these ladies are very experienced, and Angie goes, well, you guys told me that you had systems, but whoa, you have systems.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for those systems. Liz and I have been in the industry far too long that any hurdle we had, we always thought, okay, what can we proactively put in place to prevent this moving forward? And all of these guys get to tap into that. So if any hiccups happen now, we always address it just, head on, and we say, okay, what do we got to do moving forward? Okay, Jason, why would a buyer or seller want to work with a My Utah agent?
I think just the things that we do differently. I mean, you're going to hear every realtor, no matter who they are, they're going to talk about the things that they do differently. But My Utah agents, instead of just studying for our real estate exams, passing the tests, and then praying that we're just going to find our friends or our mom or
Well, we'll do that too, but
but we take outside sales training experience. We do different types of programs to make sure that we're not just going to be on top of our game and look good on a Tuesday night in front of a panel. Anybody can fake this. To be able to actually put our professional skills, our sales training, and everything else in between to be able to put them into practice. The things that we actually do differently it's really like nobody else.
you just got to experience it. Let's just say that, right?
Well, I love
Absolutely.
how he keeps mentioning sales skills, because some people think of like a salesperson or a sales skills or a salesman as a bad thing. But seriously, if you're hiring somebody to sell the biggest asset of your life, which for most people that's what their home is, you want them to be damn good at sales.
Right.
You want them to know how to
Preach.
market. Like, you want them to know how to negotiate to get you the best terms
This
and the best
starts at work.
outcome and to make it work. And that's why not only do we have a really great outreach to find clients to begin with, because we share what we do, but we have an incredible amount of repeat and referral business because of how we do business.
Yep, 80%.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
that's pretty phenomenal this many years in the business and this big of a team that we have to be able to supplement and do all of that. So by the way, with that, thank all of you guys so much for your support and your referrals, and every single one of them matter. Like seriously, every client to us makes a difference. So thank you guys so much. We
We could
promise
never
to
do
take
this without you.
excellent care of anybody you send our way.
Always.
I gotta touch on what Jason said. I feel like he touched really good with why a buyer would choose us. We also have amazing transaction coordinators. who make sure that our transaction goes smoothly every time, that we're not missing deadlines.
Yep.
I always have to shout those girls out because they work really
Yeah.
hard for us agents.
Jen,
Shaylee,
love you.
They're always making sure that
It's
it
the
goes
team
smoothly,
behind
so-
the team.
Yeah.
You know, I always say they're the backbone of the team.
Like you see the agents, but then we also have like assistants in the back that help us all. So shout out to them.
Yes.
So absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Okay, so what support and value adds do you guys all get from My Utah Agents that help each of you support and service your clients more than a typical agent?
So
start
I
down here.
think my biggest thing is, you know, in other brokerages I've been at, it's all so competitive and not in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very unhealthy competition, whereas here it's competitive as we all want to do our best and get our numbers up, but we also support each other. Like, we shout each other out all the time, give each other kudos every day. Like, we want to support each other, which I think makes us better people and makes us do better for our clients.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, I like the quote. One of the quotes that we read often is, the game is played differently when you're keeping score. And when you're an agent by yourself, you're keeping score kind of against yourself. And you know, some days if you don't have a great game, you're like, it's okay, that doesn't matter.
I still won.
Yeah, so and not that that's a negative thing, but it is a positive thing. You feed off of each other because you're seeing someone else be successful, and it just lights a fire in
Well, and
to
you,
be
right? How many
successful.
times do you guys say, oh my gosh, what is so-and-so doing? Like, things are coming together, and they're like, oh, well, I switched this one thing.
Yeah.
Start giving away stuff at mine.
Yeah.
We're not gonna give away Jason's secret, but he's got his secret.
Yeah. So and everyone wants you to do better. If you're like, hey, my numbers just aren't looking as good as I wanted. There'd be like 15 people who say, do this, try this, do that, and you have a support system behind you, which is huge because being an agent all by yourself is pretty lonely.
So being an experienced agent, let me just ask you guys, since you were both already top producers before you joined the team, which a lot of people think, why would they do that? Why would you join a team when you're already producing at a high level?
Well, for me, I needed more. Like, I needed to learn more. I felt like I was a little stagnant, and coming to My Utah Agents has definitely upped my game in every aspect of my real estate career. Woo, I'm gonna cry!
She spent a year
Vetting us.
and seeing if she
Yeah.
wanted to come on.
Because it is a big deal.
It was huge, but it was such a great transition, and I'm glad that I wouldn't change it for the world, but it's definitely My Utah Agents has helped me, like I said, in all aspects of my career, and they're great and just phenomenal.
Aw.
Yeah.
Look, you got Angie almost. So Ange, what was it for you?
I think a lot of it is leverage and systems. Like, instead of me having to pay for all of my own things and come up with my own systems and create all these things, it's leverage.
Time and money.
Right,
absolutely.
and the concept that time is money. So I can spend my time doing what I'm very best at, and that's with my clients and working with clients and listing properties and showing houses. And then everything else is taken care of. And that just even the fact of having a professional sign installer, that's like 2 hours worth of relief that you didn't have to worry about. I mean,
I know, and
it's
you
just
overlook
simple
because you're like,
things.
well, I can do it, but Liz and I are like, but you shouldn't.
And your time is better spent in the high dollar activities.
Amen.
And let the sign installer, who does that as his profession,
Yep.
you know,
The one thing model, right? Like,
Right.
let everybody
Do
focus
their thing.
on the one thing that they do best, so collectively, it's
Right.
at a much higher level, just like you were saying. She's leveled up, so her pieces that she still does as an agent, now she can do them even better.
Better,
Right.
absolutely.
Even better, because you're not distracted with the miscellaneous
Yeah.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Jason, as an agent, you've been with us probably the longest. Oh, I'm gonna cry now. What has My Utah Agents done for you to help you with your clients?
So I tried solo for a little bit.
Tried.
Tried to emphasize. I got licensed the end of April, so April 2019, and went solo until about August. And it was just very apparent to me that the real estate school, regardless of who you choose, there's some great programs out there. They're really designed to help you pass the real estate exam, and that's it. Then you sign and find your brokerage, and then you go into it in full head of steam, regardless of who it is. But at the end of the day, you're just kind of on your own. So for me, it was just important to find great mentors. And for Liz and Shan, when they were coming together, it was really just the biggest difference to me as an agent, yeah, too, but also as a person, to be able to find exactly what I needed in that and in this time of my life and in the future, to be able to make sure that I'm going to be able to, 1, be a great agent, 2, be a better person, and 3, just make sure that my clients are going to be taken care of top notch.
Yeah. Mic drop. Okay, Alex.
Well, with me, when I got licensed, they always tell you to interview with multiple brokerages. My story is a little different. I didn't interview with any brokerages except MUA. As soon as I interviewed with you guys, I knew right then and there that I didn't need to waste any more time in interviewing other people, and I made the decision to join, which I'm so glad that I did. You guys are awesome. It's the mentorship that's just amazing all around, and I live in Utah County, and I make the drive up here all the time just to get the mentorship.
Which this is Clearfield.
Yeah.
So you know where
She drives to Facebook and Instagram headquarters.
Right, that's exactly right. But I just knew I loved MUA, didn't have any hesitation joining with you guys at all. Yeah, and just like,
and you are so persistent though. Like so she showed up to one of our trainings far before she ever even signed up for real estate school. She was wanting to make sure this is even the industry she wanted to do and make sure she was sold on, you know, on the real estate industry as a whole, and making sure it.
I think I've been coming with you guys since January. So yeah, it's been a while, and I love it. And like, we get amazing like mentorship and training on how to talk to people and negotiate. So we do write killer offers because we've got that negotiation skill. So
yeah. How many? Wait, your first offer. How many other people did you compete against?
6 on the first offer.
And she won on her first deal. Yeah, and how many days after being licensed?
Like 2 weeks.
2 weeks after being licensed, wrote her first offer and won in a multiple offer situation against 6.
Yeah,
that's
in a beautiful home too, so I'm super excited for them.
And that's where the sales skills and training come in that are so valuable, because practicing
it's strategies with the contract. It's
and
mindset. It's communication, systems.
Yep, and creativity.
Yep. Yep.
And you guys are always, I like to say, feeding our brains, but all the time I'm learning from you guys, and I love it. So.
Whether we like it or not.
You're welcome. Someone say fire hose?
No, exactly. I'm like, oh
gosh. Sorry, not sorry.
Well, we just say, you know, we do a ton of role play, a ton of practice, a ton of everything, because if you're not practicing on your colleagues, you're practicing on your clients.
Yep.
And that is not acceptable, not when it's something as important as your home. And so we do a ton to prepare our agents.
Our clients actually are our clients. Our agents are me and Liz's clients technically. So our agents actually role play 4 days a week. Every morning, 8:30 to 9, they're on. And sometimes they're like, do I gotta still listen to LP Mama? And I'm like, yes, because guess what? Professional basketball players never quit practicing free throws. It's the foundational pieces that as soon as you stop, your business starts to stop. It's the fundamentals, and you gotta stick to them. So as redundant as it is, we have to stay consistent with our efforts. Megan, what is it for you? Do you just want to reiterate what our phone conversation was? What was that, last night or yesterday?
I like Shannon, that made me cry. No, I was doing this for a year and a half before I joined MUA, and I was struggling so hard. I was just at my breaking point. I'm like, I still had a part-time job. I was like, how am I gonna make this work? And the first day I met you guys, I didn't think I was gonna join, because Kelsey brought me over and she's like, let's just talk to him. And I was like, I don't wanna join a team. I don't wanna do this.
I remember when you guys came.
Accountability? What? Schedule? What?
But then I met you guys, and it was like so much high energy, and it was literally just you two, Jason and Jurgen, and Alex, and I was like,
and look where we're at now.
Oh my gosh, we're talking about expanding into other states. It's been how many
It's already actually happened, so I guess you just spilled the beans. Angie is actually our My Idaho Agents expansion broker. We are now in Idaho.
We have My Idaho.
Yay, we're going to get Angie a round of applause.
Wait, but that's 2 states in 8 months?
No, less than that. We became a broker in March.
Yeah.
6.
6
Oh
months.
my gosh.
In 6 months, we went from 3 admin, well, 2.5, because one's part-time, and 2 agents, to 5 admin and 16 agents.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
In
this
6
is
months.
it. It's not about the quantity. It is about the quality.
And each and every one of them is
Are
successful in
yeah.
closing business.
Yeah, and they're all so unique and so different that we do amend our approach with everybody. We have high expectations. We want the consistency, but at the end of the day, we give it our all to our agents, and then that way they can give their all to you.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay. My confidence was shot at that point when I first started here. And just you guys constantly talking us up. I mean, you take the time to get to know us, to know our whole backstory,
Mhm.
and then, you know, go over all of our goals. I didn't know what my goals were. I was just like, I want to make money. I need to live. But going over those goals and going in deep and figuring out who I want to be, how do I want to help my clients better so that I can achieve my goals too, not only their goals, was just huge. And so I have all the confidence now because of you guys.
Oh, and you're killing it. But I do love on our phone call you said, I just honestly give more to my clients now than ever before, and it's because of you guys. You guys have shown me how to do that.
Oh, so
And I was like, that's the best compliment ever.
yeah, I never thought to go above and beyond for my clients. I just thought do the basics.
You're like, check, check, check. Okay, I did my job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now I know, no, that's not what I want to do. I want people to trust me. I want them to know that they're in good hands with me, that I'll go above and beyond for them. Go 1 a.m. to let them into their house.
And it's the experience, because this is emotional for our clients.
It just
Even,
becomes the norm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Because
And-
you're not our clients. By the end of the deal, you're family.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't just stop at the end of the transaction. We keep going.
No.
You wish
You're
you could
stuck
get
with
rid of
us for
that.
life.
Even if you don't want us.
So with that being said, we are gonna conclude because we're wrapping up. What time is it, Jace? Ooh, 7:10. Too bad it wasn't 11.
I know.
Should have just rounded up. So we're a little bit over time. We appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to all of us. Sometimes it feels like a circus around the office, but it is at high level. We are all in. We're all in to win it. We want to see you guys have your own success stories. We're here to make that happen. So please reach out to our team. If you are personally looking to buy or sell, or you even just want to start the conversation, or you know somebody else that's talking about it, we're not pushy. We do take the time to educate. We empower our clients to make their decisions that they feel like is best. And we are here to help facilitate a smooth, successful closing experience. We want you all to be our raving fans, and we want to show you what we do different. Reach out to our team at 801-436-3204, and you'll get anybody. You can be on this panel. So anyways, any last minute words?
We love you!
Yeah.
Anyway.
You guys are
Okay, thank you, have a good night.
Thank you guys.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. And now I get to be up here and finish. Ah!